What's up, everyone? Well, I like the hoot hoot. Woot woot hoot hoot. Hold on. Let me turn off this. There we go. Welcome, everybody. Simulation Talk 193. Today might be a little short just because I want to get some free time before the podcast tonight. Maverick Star and Ebony and Chris and Jessica and, of course, Bradley. How are you, brother? And Val is in the house. How are you doing? Diana on TikTok. Oh, we have a whole new range of people on TikTok. How are you doing, everybody? Welcome, welcome. Star Child. Channing Weir. Okay, welcome to Simulation Talk 193. Almost at 200. It's kind of cool. I like it. How are everybody doing tonight? Maria. Hey, Maria. Wait, from Or, like Omani's Or? Did I check the new finding of the pyramid? And then what do you think about these new research? There's no paper. There's just the announcement. I did a little bit of research yesterday, and there's no actual peer-reviewed paper, but there's a big announcement that they made. So I guess we're going to wait for now that it's an official announcement, we're going to wait for the peer-review paper. The thing is that everything I've seen so far definitely doesn't fall under the parameter of something, because it seems that people's grab is aliens, right? Per usual. It doesn't look like anything that humans couldn't have built. Even in that time, humans built incredible things over the ages, and I personally think it's way within the capabilities of humans to build something like this. Obviously, super impressive, and we don't want to take away the incredible feat from past humans who did that. Also, don't forget that it might be the case that that has to do with certain techniques of building that we simply didn't consider. Like, for example, building down, and then slowly going down and building more, slowly going down, building more. Tunnels is something that people have done for many, many years. Oregon. Got it, Maria. Well, welcome. So again, you know me. I don't know anything until I know it. And this, for me, is definitely not enough evidence for something outer worldly. And again, this is just the natural grab of people, so I'm just kind of pulling the brakes on that every time. So yeah, that would be for me. But I mean, again, this is exciting that way or another. It's amazing. It's an incredible discovery if it opens up. Thank you so much. I love the plants as well. Ancient humans were far more advanced than give them credit for. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think again, it's kind of a balance. Like, I like the balance, right? So I think that when people insist that past humans were more advanced than us, I think you're over exaggerating. We're definitely more advanced. There's no question about that. I think I know people don't like this meme, but it is true. I mean, we're going to space. Come on, let's not get silly. But there's other ways that people excelled because their attention was on something else, and that's also important to emphasize. There was this discussion I've had before, and I think I've had it on the channel as well. Chris, how are you, brother? I'm doing well. How are you, my friend? Is that people asked, I had this discussion, I think even with Zoltan. I don't remember who it was, honestly. I don't remember who it was, but somebody that I had the discussion with, and the conversation was around how come we don't make, how come we don't make such incredible structures like they used to make? And the answer, I think, is pretty simple. It's incentives. So it requires a lot of manpower and time. And in modern times, manpower is not, you can't just pluck people out of whatever they're doing and just tell them to do something, which in the past you could. So it can be slavery, or it can be not slavery, but if you're the Roman Empire and the emperor tells you to do something, you do it. So because you don't have that option for most things, and even if you wouldn't have that option, the whomever the leader is would have to allocate a lot of hands from doing a lot of other important things to doing that, which is not always the wisest thing, because it would have to justify itself in terms of what it is. In the past, people built things just as a monument for something, just to show the amount of wealth. And because this is something that we do, building like enormous buildings and things like this, we just don't think of it in terms of that. I mean, if you look at the tallest buildings in the world, it's essentially kind of that, right? But we can. I do not accept the idea that we can't build these things. We can build things, and this is going to piss a lot of people off, but we can build things today if we chose to do so, that would make the eyes of people in the past pop out of their skulls. Like, we can do things that will blow people's minds with what we know today. We just don't, because it's not what we focus on, which is unfortunate. I think we should. But the answer there is very simple. It's incentives and allocating of resources for something that needs to justify itself. So you have slipped into my life, and I don't even know why. How? Interesting. Let me see here. Thank you, Bradley. Yeah, if you want to like the chat, I would definitely always welcome. Did you check on the new finding of the pyramid? Yeah, we're talking about that. Kate hasn't received the laser since January. Well, Kate, I think you're one of the people probably that ordered it right before we started moving the thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to refund you. Please email me, and then we'll just notify you the second it's ready to be shipped. And then if you still want to order it, by all means. If not, it's all good. I understand. I'm sorry that you had to wait, Kate. I appreciate your patience. Please email me to lasersimulationx@gmail.com now, if you don't mind, that you need a refund, and I will do it immediately right after the live. Eyes closed. The paper is releasing soon. Okay, great. Yeah, we'll read the paper. Case for me too, MIT, but after experimenting in increments, open eyes visuals are pretty interested. Not too disorienting if you're experimenting with that. Thank you for that. Spirals are hard. Well, but doable. Yeah, they had a lot of time, Maverick Star. To again, don't underestimate humans. Don't underestimate humans. And again, sometimes the answers are very simple. There's this guy, I spoke about him before, whose channel is dedicated to show how people in the past could have potentially done the things that we think are impossible. And one of these things that he's showing, which is kind of like when you see it, you go, oh. Which is when you know how people say, how did they cut these stones so accurately? Oh my God, it's lasers. So apparently it's very simple. You basically just put a bunch of rods, either basically from you create something very hard. So you can say, like, how did they have metals or things like this? I don't know exactly when it happened in history. I don't know the history of metals, but we definitely have metals. So we know it's possible for humans to make metals. If you put metal rods across the big stone exactly in a line, enough of them, all you got to do is go, puck, and the whole stone just goes, and it cuts exactly in the middle. Like perfect. So that's one potential way of doing these kind of things. And I assure you that most answers are that. It doesn't mean that the really amazing, crazy stuff is not out there, but it's just that most answers are humans are awesome. Humans are amazing. That's the answer. After that, Kundalini, energy blockage, energy enlightenment, realignment. Wait. After that, Kundalini energy blockage, energy realignment, the blockage I had, and Kriya is going crazy. I took a breakthrough, Dimitri dose. I was scared in case it messed me up further, but it cured me. Amazing. Well, I'm here, happy to hear that. Good to hear. Good to hear that, Sean. To live. Oh, nice. Yeah, indeed. Join our Discord. If you are on any other channel, go to my YouTube channel and check out the third link from the top on Dango Thoughts on YouTube, and check out the YouTube channel. Also, the website is codeofreality.com. If you want to join, if you want to check that out as well. Um, as far as eyes open, feel it outside in nature would be ideal. Yeah, that would be ideal. Chris is saying, I'm rotting for alien. you said probably rooting, right? But it is funny. I'm rotting for aliens, but I'm glad you're staying grounded with your answer. Keep me grounded and stops me from making a leap. Insert gift. I'm not saying it's aliens, but was the aliens. I'm gonna put a meme that I've created of me with the guy with the alien picture. I'm almost tempted to try and find it now, but I'll do it later so everybody can see it on Discord. It's a fun meme that makes fun of me, so I'll send it to you. You're gonna have a blast with that one. But yeah, it's not. Well, I mean, again, this channel is here. Well, the channel originally wasn't for that, but I'm here currently, known in the world as the guy who's talking about finding proof that we live in a simulation and talking to aliens. So I know aliens are real. Let's clarify this first. What I am saying, however, that most things that people claim that they think it's aliens, it isn't, because they are very actually terrestrial things that humans are awesome at. And I think we should give ourselves a little bit more credit. It involves definitely there's things that are not that are not us, and maybe even and probably even Egypt is one of them. The whole thing with Egypt, right? The something is there. I'm totally open to that, and I believe that most likely it is the case. But if you will, if we don't stay grounded in the actual specifics of the facts, you will never get to the understanding of the actual truth, which is way more amazing than anything we can make up, honestly. Oh, and Chris just gifted 5 more memberships. Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate you, brother. Um, what is that? All right. There's some pretty freaky other things too they did besides moving millions of heavy ass stones. Yeah, again, do not underestimate humans. That's my answer for most things. Do not underestimate humans. Bradley, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. If you guys are not members already on YouTube, please come join because you might. Well, I recommend you join the membership because it includes Zoom calls, in which we have one coming up. Zoom calls with me. You have weekly lives aside from the daily lives. Ebony just donated another 5 memberships. Guys, you're amazing. Thank you so much for this. And you might get gifted memberships, as very often happens on the channel on YouTube. Includes personal things from my life. And all right. Okay. Nice. We're not doing spamming here. Thank you very much. Goodbye. So Thank you for this, guys. I appreciate that, and we will keep rotting for aliens. I'm not even rotting. I'm not even rooting. I know aliens are real. It's just that you know my take is, thank you so much. My take is that that it's most things are not, and we should take the credit where it is deserved. That was very poetic. Thank you guys for donating the memberships and welcome all the new members. Please, if you're a second member, if you are second tier and up of the membership, please email me with the words that start with new member so I can send you the new link to the new Zoom meeting. We technically are rotting. Speak for yourself, man. I'm only getting finer over time, baby. Um, this is the world we live in. Ready? A handle called the Universe Galaxy. First of all, I think it's the wrong order. Says Michael Jordan fans are the worst sports fans of all time. Well, I don't know if you know, but that's the name of Paradox Buddha, who donated a lot of money to the enterprise of the movie. So I disagree with you. Pure entropy. Um, yes, 532 nanometer would work as well. It's just that any higher frequency than 650 will be harder to sit with for a while because your eyes will start hurting. You might get a headache. It's higher frequency. But you will definitely see the code, Michael. I'm interested in knowing the difference between vape cart and pure spice. Only done the cart and 3 hits, and I'm absolutely blown away every time. Yeah, I mean that's plenty. Believe me. I mean, obviously, it will be more with the pure spice, but I would say if it blows your mind, stay there. Stay there. Any recommendation for book in fiction or in genre? Have to drop out some heavy books for some time. The first book I always recommend is The Beginning of Infinity by David Deutsch. The Beginning of Infinity by David Deutsch. Highly recommend this book. It's an incredible read that I think is a blueprint for the understanding of the 21st century. Curious is the laser experiment can be done with the laser shining through smoke from a smoke machine. No, because it's random scattering. You will not see anything aside from the beam itself because the beam, there's nothing to hit and go back to your eye in a coherent manner. So smoke will always be random scattering. You will never see something content in 3D, so to speak. But good question. Have you seen the code on other? Yes, it works on mushrooms and on Aya as well. Thank you, Ebony. I see Ebony already answered the question. I'm very slow. Yeah, so the mixture of green and L, that can be very destabilizing for sure, Sean. They're actually the two worst offenders in terms of mental illness, like the one that actually destabilize people mentally. So combining them, doubly so. The code is object you're projecting, or code leads somewhere else. I don't know. It seems to be in the surface, but it might be like an adjacent dimension to the surface in some form. That's a good point too, Ebony is making. She's saying, I don't think it has anything to do with the object. The code is on exactly more like a holographic overlay of this reality, not object specific, maybe. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. Actually, way better than I put it. So thank you for that. Do we have free will? No. According to Ebony, yes. According to me, no. I saw the future in quantum interference pattern in Porter John. Interesting. Haven't tried it with L. Some people are about to try. So, no. Free will is to my mind, is a completely incoherent concept. It cannot be mapped onto any kind of reality that you're describing. I feel like we're now talking about free will every time. So we'll do a quick rundown now, and then we'll rest this question for a while. The reason it is not a coherent concept is because what you're saying there, by saying free will, you're postulating some kind of a freedom that an agent has, some will that an agent can exert on reality that is completely free. What the free part denotes is the idea that you can somehow be untethered to everything else that preceded that moment. In other words, everything happened until this moment, exactly how it did. And now you, as the agent, somehow free to choose whatever it is from here on, right? Uncoupled from the previous condition that brought you to that point. Now, think about that for a second. That means you think that somehow you sit outside of reality on some comfortable couch, and then somebody from the inside of reality comes to you and says, Sir, oh good sir, or good madam, what should we do from here? And you go, pause everything. Let me look at it. Let's go with C. And then that messenger runs back into reality and says, he said C, or she said C. And then reality keeps playing with C. Where is it that you're sitting? Are you outside of existence? Who is the you that is sitting? What is this instance of you choosing? How does it influence the rest of what is about to unfold? Is it not in some form part of the chain of command of everything that happened until that moment? Because if it is, then it's not free, but the result of everything that happened before, which is the natural unfoldment of occurrence as it happens in the world. If you are completely outside of reality, then by definition, whatever you are is included in what we call reality, which is what I call the container problem. Either way, it's an incoherent idea. So the reason that free will doesn't exist is because people don't understand what they're postulating by saying that. They have an impression that they're somehow a free agent that, yes, is part of the world, but kind of can choose whatever they want. But there's a, hey, here, what? Look, I just decide to pick this up right now. I'm picking up an object. If I wouldn't decide this, it wouldn't be picked up. The point isn't that. Nobody's denying the operational freedom of the physical unit that you are. What is being addressed is the fact that whatever it is that you are, including your perception of the self of yourself as the agent, is the result of everything else that happened until that point in the region of space-time where you reside. So what you are, including your decision, your thought, your impression that you had the freedom to choose to pick up the wallet and all of that happened outside of what you call you. But here's the kicker, it gets deeper. The you that you feel yourself to be is not an actual thing, which we talked about as well. So it's doubly wrong. It is a completely bankrupt idea that has nothing to do with how reality works. And you can say that, well, that's why I said the only ever good reconciliation of this that I've ever heard is by Bernardo Castro, but it addresses basically the freedom of the entire system. So he says, well, private agents obviously are not free to choose because they're part of the system and they're not actually there, they're part of the collective. But the collective, the universal mind, has the freedom to choose the next step as it will. However, with a caveat that it is only free to choose that it is ought to choose according to what it actually is. So if it starts with a particular arrangement of whatever it is, and then unfolds forward in its progression of however you want to define it as time or rate of change, whatever, however you want to define this thing, but something happens from moment to moment to moment, right? This is the result of what the world is in that instance. So was the world really free to choose that? Well, it can only be free to choose that if you could then wind back the time and check again and say, would it choose something else? And can it check infinite possibilities from that point? Problem is, you can't actually do that. There's nothing that rewinds time. And even if you want to play with the block universe, you still don't get out of the problem because then the composition of everything that it is as the block universe is what it is. By definition, that actually gets you into a worse problem because now everything is not only predetermined, everything is all what it is exactly in that instance. So there is no freedom there because the freedom would imply that it could have been otherwise if you would just do it again. So A, you can't do it again. And it couldn't have done otherwise, even if you could do it again, because then it would be something else in that instance if it would do something else in that instance. You see what I'm saying? It's a never-ending snake that eats its own tail. The idea itself just doesn't make any sense. Also, it shouldn't really be the focus of anyone because the freedom to, I guess, enjoy or just be is not determined by the idea of being able to choose freely. It is determined only by the ability to accept things for what they are, which is much closer to the truth, and that is exactly what the Eastern tradition follows, the Buddhistic traditions. Thank you so much for the contribution. By the way, I just saw this $20 by Sofa Goose. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's beautiful. Um, get to take prednisone. Whoa. I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you so much, Ebony. I appreciate you, by the way, for adding the book suggestion. Um, wait, let me. Beautiful. Thoughts on solipsism? Well, solipsism doesn't make any sense because it postulates, again, one agent that exists. The difference between solipsism and idealism is that solipsism basically postulates that you, personally, you, or every one of us that convinced that are the only one exist. That doesn't make any sense at all, because you can actually find out the fact that you are not there. That's actually very easy to do, relatively easy to do if you do some meditation. So solipsism doesn't make any sense. Idealism does make sense, but it is not quite the same because we're not talking about one particular agent existing, but a universal mind existing, which is not the same kind of experience, I would assume, as a conscious agent inside of the system. Sofa King. How are you, brother? Do you expect a makeup holographic chart or a 3D model in model to understand the code for people who do not want to use the sprint molecule? Yes. Great question, Maverick Star. We are working on that actually. Yeah, I guess you can say it that way. I was saying we have autonomy, but we don't have free will. You can say it that way. Hello, Kim. Glad you got your laser. Can you see the code from any surface where the laser is at? What do you mean by where the laser is at? You can put, yeah. Oh, you mean like where the laser is projected? Yes. If you're on the molecule, yes. Amazing, Kim. Would love if you fill out the report on the website as well. Random ordinary person. Good to see you. How are you? So chaos, not free will. No. Well, depending what you mean by chaos. If by chaos you mean technical term chaos in mathematics, um, which I don't think is what you mean. If you mean like just craziness, everything is jumbled up. No, it's not the same at all. These are not opposites. Free will is simply an incoherent idea, no matter what you do. Right? It doesn't matter what world you're describing. Free will doesn't make any sense because you're postulating an agent that is outside of existence, which is of course impossible. So then you go back to the original problem, and now you're stuck there. Right? So um, I just think it's the wrong problem. It's not a problem to be solved. It's not a thing. Like it's not actually there. Like you can notice it's not actually there just by paying very close attention. Chaos versus structure, that's a separate question, and it's a very deep question, by the way, which includes some, thought experiments like the Boltzmann brain, which basically postulates that it is possible that within the infinity of chaos of everything that is just unfolding randomly, eventually, if it is infinite, there will be a lot of instances, in fact, infinite instances of brains that are created for a picosecond in which they contain your moment of experience right now, which you're experiencing for real, as you, with all your memories, with all your aspirations, with everything that it feels like to be you. And it only existed for this one instance and disappeared randomly. And you would never know the difference between this instance as it is with all of that and anything else. Now, obviously, there's good reasons to resist this idea for all kinds of other reasons, but technically, you can't really disprove this idea, right? So that's called a Boltzmann brain. So I think these kind of thought experiments, what they really reveal is the how much our models can tangle up our minds. And in the end of the day, the only thing that matters is are you bringing your state to a more optimal state of equilibrium, equanimity, love, positive emotion, something you can actually do in a positive way and stay that way over the time that you perceive yourself to be, even if the time is not real. So I think that's the only thing that should matter to any conscious mind. And that would include understanding the world deeper, because understanding the world deeper allows you for more of that to happen en masse. That would be my logical explanation of it. Um, do you agree with that sentiment? Then we have an autonomy, but free will is impossible because of the nature of reality. It's impossible because of the nature of logic, really. Remind me what Robert Sapolsky's take. I know the name, but let's see. Vogue the science of life without free will. The free will is an illusion, and our actions are determined by a complex interplay of biological environment. Well, yes. Oh, I see. I see. I just see his face, and I remember who that is. Yes, but it's a slightly outdated idea. Like it has a lot more nuances at this point. Again, I would highly recommend you YouTube or Google um, Bernardo Kastrup, Free Will. That's the best outline of free will, the most fair and honest that I've ever heard. Bernardo Kastrup, Kastrup. Kastrup, free will. He has a lot of talks, obviously, but this is a good clip. I'm sure there's quite a few. And somebody also contributed 69. Sofa Goose. Oh, another. Wow, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We are the aliens, but we do have free will. Oh, I didn't see the comment from before. Uh, I mean, you heard my spiel now. I appreciate your contribution, but I would land on the side of we don't have free will. But you're saying when two sides of the same when two sides of the same time war have access to undetectable reconnaissance, okay, ENS, an advanced form of technology assisted astral projection, it results in a collapsing cumulus that can only be steered by communal human vector intention will. So I don't know if I run with the specific example because it's unnecessarily convoluted, I think. But I do take a deeper point that there is something about what we call free will. There is something about the execution of a trajectory through decision trees of the thing that we call ourselves. There is something about that that makes the universe different than if we wouldn't be here. That is not quite to say that we have the freedom of the will that we're postulating here, because ultimately you must be the product of all the prior states. So, like I said, it can only refer to the ultimate state of affairs in terms of freedom. But even there, you would have to accept the fact that if the system is already what it is, then it would be, maybe forced is the wrong word, but it would must behave according to what the only repertoire of next steps there is available to it. And even if you want to add randomness to it, let's say that the system has some kind of a combination between prior states that then give rise to this filament of randomness. When that filament of randomness occurs, that is just the way that things operate in that world. So specifically, let's say I'm a kind of a system that I'm a computer that basically says we're going to execute all of these logical steps until we reach the step called, I don't know, B, C, D, A, B, D, whatever, right? When that definition comes, it's like a code that says, okay, now we're activating this random layer that's going to give us a random operational outcome. So the system cannot inspect that next step. That might as well be true. But then whatever step will occur out of it, if it is truly random, and the definition of truly random is incapable of being inspected no matter by how much computation you run in the world you're executing that function in, then that occurrence was completely outside of the ability of the universe itself to inspect, which was the point of it, of course. And in that instance, when it executed the function and you have an output, then it will continue with its logical steps from that point on. But notice that just because it was random, in other words, outside of the ability of existence itself to inspect, it does not mean that anything was free to choose it. It was random. So it was outside of anybody's choice. And then it's just a procedural following of that step. Now, this is, by the way, it's not, if you have to ask yourself, what is the significance of people, grappling with free will? I think it's because people like the idea that they are somehow specials in the sense of we like the idea of freedom. We like to be able to fly. We like to be able to be as much of a free agent as possible. So there's something about that, right? There's a feeling attached to it we like, and I understand that, but I do think that actually the attachment to the idea of the freedom that we think that we do have is by itself a form of a prison, because it basically says if I'm not free, what is the point? Well, the point is exactly what's happening, right? And aligning yourself with whatever the system is already doing, I think, is a much more freeing, both conceptual framework and operational logic than anybody can aspire to. Now, I know that a lot of people disagree with that, but that's after my life experience so far and the understandings of what makes me happier or less happy, more successful, less successful. These are the kind of operational steps I tend to take in order to have the healthiest, predispensation to see and operate inside the world. Aaron, how are you, my brother? Toroids. Free will, but limited options. Sure, still not free though. By the way, Ebony, where would it be best for me to put the meme that I said I'm going to share on Discord? Which group should I do it in? Which chat? Question isn't whether you have autonomous or not. The question is, could you have done something else? No, you cannot have done something else because you cannot go back in time. Reality, by definition, is what happened. Can you forward us some research papers so we can look at this free will topic in deep, as it will take me time to actually understand if it's true? I think the best outline of this conundrum that I'm trying to do, the spiel that I'm trying to do now, is by Sam Harris. So if you just do Sam Harris, free will, there's a few lectures he did on the subject that are pretty good. I don't remember which one is the best, but there's also a book that he wrote on the subject. But if you want to just start with a lecture, it would be videos. Yeah, I think this might be it. Let me see. Let's see if I can. Okay, so might be that one. He did a series of talks, but this was a pretty good one. There you go. There's a lot of disagreements of this, but I just outlined to you the logic of it, right? If you go step by step, if you really pay attention to what it's like to be you in the instance, it's clear that the you in the picture kind of goes away, but also the freedom that you believe that you exert on the world outside of everything else that the world is doing obviously goes away with it. That being said, like I said, like in the comment here of Sophagus, there is some significance to whatever that is exerting its influence in a way that is different than just things bumping into each other. Obviously, in a mash pit or a mosh pit, I never know how to pronounce it correctly. Aaron always makes fun of it. I think mash pit is the way I say it, and mosh pit is how people say it, right? But if you think about it, it is a mash pit. You're mashing together, right? So there is just a case of people bumping into each other. The choice to enter the mosh pit is a different story. So what people talk about when they're obviously talking about free will, they're talking about the experience of being that thing that seems to be more than just the sum of its parts. In other words, a human. People basically are saying, look, I know that maybe you're saying it's an incoherent idea, but ultimately I know that the world is not the same if I'm going to pick up this object or if I'm going to open that door, right? Which is true. And I think the problem here is conceptual and descriptive, not actual, because the world doesn't have any problem executing all of these functions at once and reconciling them for what they really are. It's just the natural occurrence of things. So without humans existing, there'll be no rockets. Without rockets, there'll be no civilizations expanding into space in our corner of the universe. There'll be no possibility of complex biosphere going to other planets. These are just examples, right? All of that stuff will eventually be possible if humans don't destroy themselves in the biosphere as well, which is, I guess, the price that the biosphere pays for entertaining an organism like humans. But if humans become enlightened fast enough and don't destroy the biosphere, then they become the custodians of that kind of stuff. So the fact that humans have this thing, the influence that that they can exert on the world makes a very different kind of universe, much more beautiful and complex, if you ask me, than we would have without humans or things like humans, obviously. But the actual freedom there is not really a coherent idea. And I know I'm way far behind on the comments, but Stephen Wolfram, yes, yes, yes. Free will may be an illusion caused by how energetically aligned you are at any given point with the universe. If you vibrate at a higher frequency, maybe you are able to access a bigger, or you just discovered that you are the system that is doing what it's doing, and then the need to for free will kind of goes away. How are you, Kevin? How can you join the Discord? Oh, I think Ebony would already tell you. Yep. But if you haven't uh, noticed, then you can go to my Dango Thoughts YouTube channel. Check out my third link from the top. That will take you to our Discord. Oh, there you go. It's the correct thing. $42 viewers. What's up, Hyper Lethal? Danny, how are you, brother? Inclusion of everyone in connection makes a lot of sense instead of only going in. True. Whoa, there's so many comments. Yeah, check the console video. I don't know where that come from. Mashpit does make more sense. Wait, who's coming? How much does our subconscious have an effect on our free will? I'm not even sure there's such a thing as subconscious. I know it's a very popular idea, but I'm not sure it's a real thing. It might be the rest of the world and your lack of awareness of it, but I don't think necessarily subconscious is also a real thing. Wait, what happened on eBay? Amy saying yes. Yellow lasers. Actually, now that I think of it, I've never seen one. There's orange, right? There should be the entire spectrum. So it should be red, orange, yellow, right? That is weird. Never thought about that. So yeah, we spoke about it, Tony, about the Pyramid of Giza. I personally will wait for the research paper, the peer-reviewed research paper, to determine things. Super exciting. There's no question about it. But what that means, I would wait for people who are experts to analyze the data. Is it really hard to make blue? I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not an expert in making them from scratch, so I wouldn't know. No, I think they do have pink lasers. Young just rolled over in his grave. I mean, I love Carl Jung, but these are all models, and they get updated when we understand more things. So it really also depends what you mean with the subconscious. Carl's model is very profound and very deep. He actually talked about not so much of the idea of like you have your subconscious, I have my subconscious. He was talking about a collective subconscious. So in that sense, I would align much more with Jung than the naive idea of subconscious in which you just have a part of your mind you're not aware of. No, I am with Jung, which we have a collective subconscious. That's an interesting topic. Need more research to come forward for sure. Oh yeah. Sent you a YouTube video to why yellow lasers are so hard to get and find. I'm excited to read that actually. I don't know even know why. I really want I really want to share that meme here. I just don't know if I have it of it. Hold on, let me see. Maybe I can share it now. We can have a good laugh. Can have a good laugh together. Let me see. Do I have it somewhere here? Let me see. Ooh. Let's see if TikTok is not going to disappear. Don't go anywhere. Let's see. I know I have it somewhere. Man, now that I think of it, I don't really know where it is. Well, whatever. Whatever, man. Ooh, I know where it is. I know exactly where it is. Hold on. Media. Hopefully TikTok is not disappearing on us. Also, this is great. Come on. Wow, everything is so slow, man. So slow. Yeah, TikTok is probably gone by now. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it here. Ah, there it is. Found it. Let's see if TikTok is still here. Boom. Boom. There we go. TikTok is still here. Woohoo! Okay, let me see if I can 8035. Let me bring Discord out. Where's Discord? I thought I had it here. Oh, there it is. Okay, what group should I put it in? I'm gonna put in general chat. Ready? That's dedicated to you, Chris. Put it in, I just put it in general chat. For you, bro. I put it on Discord in the general chat. Do the laser symbols change if the laser is projected on a surface that moves at the same time as the same speed, like on a rail system that goes left and right? That's a great question. I don't see why it would. I mean, that you're just going to be moving across the. But it's an interesting question, especially if we're moving in high speeds. Something to actually check. I never thought about that. That's a great idea. It would be very difficult to test. I mean, what would you be, maybe on a train or something? Cool colors are hard. I like you, Val. I like you. There you go. We can make true pink lasers. We will make true pink lasers. The Equinox is here. You mean like the gym? How you doing, Devin? I need a Karen Karen cut. That guy is crazy. Talking about the guy on the right. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. That's not fun. Devin has the flu. Everybody send Devin healing thoughts and prayers and energies You are healed overnight. Ay caramba. That's my magic words. But really, bro, sending you love. Well, I'm glad to hear that, man. Um, business in the front and party in the back. Look, that's funny. Yeah, you're pretty cool. Um, okay. So I do want to remind everybody because we are having the Zoom call coming up. If you are second tier membership on YouTube and up, please, if you're not already on the list and if you haven't been on a live before, on a Zoom before, please send me an email with the word starting with new member so I can invite you to that Zoom call. Um, and let me see, what is that? Was it you who showed Chase use the laser experiment and knew we were living in the Matrix? Yes, that was me. And yes, we are living in a simulated environment, but not like in the Matrix. We're not in prison. This is just the nature of the world. Uh, if you are, so let me just remind everybody. So if you're not a member on my YouTube channel, which is Dango Thoughts, DANGO Thoughts, first of all, go follow my YouTube channel now because most of the updates and most of the stuff I'm doing is there. You can also join the members program, which if you are from the second tier and up, you also get invites to Zoom calls with me, which one is coming up. So if you want to join, do that, and I'll send you an invite after you email me. And if you go for any membership, it also includes early access to all my content. It includes personal stuff from my life that will exist nowhere else but on YouTube members, and weekly lives like these. Only it's for members only, and it's not like the daily lives. It's much more targeted. So all of that is included in the membership program. If you want to follow me across other platforms, it's Danny Goller on TikTok and Instagram. It's Goller Danny, swap them on X. It's Laser X83 on Twitch, and Dango Thoughts on YouTube. DANGO Thoughts on YouTube. I highly recommend. What? Okay. I think you're getting the invite automatically, Devin. I haven't sent it yet. Email any members Zoom meeting. Thank you so much, Ebony. I appreciate you. Guy Arkansas and a cousin with Mentis experience. It's me, Willie, the guy from Arkansas, and the cousin with Mentis experience. I mean, that is a sentence. How you doing, Willie? Direct correlation with the code spoken by James Gates. Heard of it? Yes. No, I don't think there's a correlation. Well, I don't know if there's no correlation, but he's talking about error correcting codes. Actually, there might be. But James Gates would be the first one to tell you that he does not think it means we live in simulation. He, of course, is wrong, but that's important to mention because he does not believe that this means we live in a simulation. He's being quoted about that a lot, but he does not agree with that. Light is a signal, not a particle. Well, we can have a deeper conversation about light, Mikey. It's a long window. All right, guys. So I think we will adjourn unless there's something super important. The public can find out about you. All right. Well, the public already found out about me, so too late. You can join, Tony. You can join our Discord. Go to YouTube, then go Thoughts. Find my Discord channel on the third link from the top on my main YouTube channel. There's a Discord. Come join us. There's a lot of stuff there, including codes, discussions, a great picture of me saying aliens or compared to the alien guy. All of that and more on our wonderful Discord that is random managed by Emily, by Chris, by Owl, Bradley, sorry, Jessica, a lot of other wonderful people, Carter, of course. Thank you so much, guys, for making this community what it is. Everybody who are joining in, chiming in, and contributing their time and hard-won money, to help this project. Devin, love you, brother. heal. Thank you so much for being who you are. I appreciate you all. And all the community members that are here on a regular basis, always coming and making this and the incredible experience that it is, including for me. If you haven't already liked the chat, no matter what platform you're on, if you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube, if you're on X, or if you're on Twitch, please like the chat. It helps the algorithms for sure. Just give it a thumbs up wherever it is. It helps tremendously. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. I think tomorrow, right? I think yes. Peace and love. Party. Ciao. See you guys. Have a good night, guys. Much love.